World experts.
Oh, we're live. I had to press the button. Sorry. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We've got Jonathan. I think Dr. Kiltz was going to be here.
Maybe he's not here because I'm here.
No, it has nothing
No.
to do with it. So he was meant to travel later today, and then I didn't think he was going to be here tomorrow. And so that's why I wanted you on here today. But sometimes there's just some technical issues. So
well, I thought he was traveling today to Los Angeles.
Yeah, I think later today. We'll see. Oh man. We're going to get this someday, Jonathan. We're going to get you guys talking to each other. I'm going to make it happen.
Anyway, good morning. Is the 12th of August, 2025, 6 a.m. Alia, Jonathan, and Dr. Nelson with you. Dr. Kiltz may be here momentarily or not. And I hear him coming in. There you go.
Morning. I knew I could make it work.
How are you doing
Still
today?
Morning here as well.
Good morning, all. How's it going? Jonathan, how are you?
I'm not bad, thanks. Yeah, it's still morning here as well. I'm quite impressed that we managed to all get on here at a similar sort of time of day.
All right. Well, I'm just logging on, getting on Kiltz Mighty Tribe, and we are live. It's great to see everyone. Dr. Nelson, thank you, and Alia, thank you.
You're so welcome.
What do we got happening today, Jonathan? What are we talking about?
You talk about whatever you want. There's two topics I'd like to talk about, which are quite unique to me. They're extremely niche in the carnivore community. There's not really anyone talking about it as much as I do. Maybe it's just me rambling, but there we go. So autism and carnivore bodybuilding / physique competitions.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go at it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this carnivore world and why you're so passionate about what you're sharing.
And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. QQQ in front of it if possible. And tell us where you're watching from as well. Hashtag KMT to get today.
Organ meat supplements.
Organ meat supplements. You can get them at killshealth.com, by the way. All right, let's go, Jonathan.
Excellent. Let's go. Right. So my start to the carnivore diet. For a start, I'm 30 years old. I've got a bachelor's degree in human nutrition. I've probably got about 800 videos on my YouTube channel. But I would have done that unless I was somewhat passionate about it, obviously. I'm not one of these influencers who jumps on, creates an Instagram account, pays a guy on Fiverr to create carousels for them reels, copies information of someone else, posts it at their own, then becomes a carnivore coach without any experience or credentials or actual real life carnivore know-how. That's my little rant to the beginning. But basically, I started it on the carnivore diet 5.5 years ago, exactly. Ish, maybe, I don't know. The February the 2nd, 2020, and that was after 2 months of managing a vegan health food store. And I wasn't actually vegan at the time. I was more just, gym bro diet, chicken, broccoli, rice, the odd pizza, the odd 10 or 20 bags of Haribo. And that was basically my diet. That was it up until that point. What I found was I started to get more and more health issues as basically time went on. So I live with the most painful disease known to man. It's called complex regional pain syndrome. I also live with something called autism, obviously, chronic fatigue, and I know, of course, a lot of these things are sort of like overlap. So really, I've probably got a couple of problems, but the symptomology is quite widespread, as you can imagine. Outside of that, yeah, I'm autistic as hell, and I am quite proud of it in a sense, because I don't know many people that can achieve much on a carnivore diet without some kind of element of, I'd say, neuroticism in a way. As in, a lot of people I speak to, they want to be, exact. They're just fed up of being sick, and I was exactly the same way. I was fed up of being ill, having like acid reflux, having digestive issues all over really, pain, inflammation in my feet, my knees, back and hips, brain fog, fatigue, basically living a life of hell. Anyway, since then, since 5.5 years ago, I've had one spinal surgery, which is spinal fusion, laminectomy, and discectomy. Also had 2 shoulder surgeries recently. Might not be able to see here on the screen, but this actually is one around here, one across here. Extreme medical negligence. I basically had a muscle tear I didn't know about. An abscess formed. The abscess formed a infection. They wouldn't treat it. And they did treat it. I didn't get any post-operative care. This year already I've had about 40 hospital appointments, roughly. I've got a staph infection. That staph infection ended up in the top, which is why I've got 2 scars on my shoulder on this side. So yeah, I'm a bit fed up with surgeries, but in spite of this, I can still sit here and say, carnivore diet has been absolutely exemplary in terms of reducing inflammation, keeping things a bit better than what they'd be otherwise. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's a miracle cure-all. You can't fix structural deformities in the body. Yes, I've tried all the supplements you could think of. Again, remember, I did work in a health food store, so everything that they had in there and anti-inflammatory wise I was taking. I currently sit here as of right now on this day with a very clean bill of health in terms of low inflammation, blood markers all good, kidney health's good, things like that as a bodybuilder, except I live with enormous pain. So I've pretty much maxed out everything I can at this point in time. So what I'm basically looking to do with my channel is not so much really make content that makes money, but more so make content that helps people, gives them a directive, an idea. So that's why I kind of set myself apart from a lot of different channels. They try to focus on whatever's popular at the time, but that's not for me. I get people often sort of reach out to me and say, "Oh, Jonathan, I've got this issue." If a question commonly pops up amongst clients, means they're listening to something, which means, okay, maybe I can help people here, maybe I can give people a bit of directive. And a live stream for me is very rare. I find sitting on streams nowadays quite anxiety inducing, and the fact that nothing wrong with people I'm on the stream with, but when you live with a lot of pain, you can't sit for very long. I have to lie down like that about 20 to 22 hours per day. Otherwise, I'm in pain. You're very restricted. So every hour, every minute that I'm on a screen, I value quite highly. I also value the time of others quite highly as well. So what I try to focus here is just answering people's questions as best as I can, best of my experience and knowledge. And if I don't know the answer, well, I'm going to probably defer to Dr. Kiltz or Dr. Nelson or Eli maybe. So that's largely it in terms of my carnivore diet. And if you had to ask me like what I eat in a day, people are going to ask, what does this giant, national level bodybuilder eat in a day? I tend to start from the outside in, so it means I eat animal foods only. I'll add seasonings occasionally. Other than that, it's largely beef, fish. I eat a lot of some eggs, quite a lot of dairy. So generally my sort of diet follows along with the principles of what you might hear from, I don't know, Professor Bart Kay or Harry Sapanos, as in, 70% roughly ruminant meat. The rest is whatever extra you tolerate, enjoy, that makes you feel good. Quite an intuitive approach, generally speaking, but I do track macros, and currently right now I'm sitting at a legitimate 5% body fat or less at this moment in time. I've got around 8 weeks left until one bodybuilding show I've got coming up. Then I've got another one 2 weeks after that, which will be the British finals. I've already qualified for the finals this year. I qualified last year and did them last year. But part of the practice of body, which people don't often get, is it's not so much I've done the show, it's more the progression and the journey between the shows. So I did quite well in June. I qualified. Brilliant. But the next thing is, how do I get a bit better than that? How do I refine it better? So my physique's dry. I've got more pop-on muscles and my waist is tighter. And that's a constant refining process I have. I'm sure a lot of you guys that are watching this, or any of the gentlemen or ladies on the screen, probably thinking, yes, it's kind of a good way of going about it. So you've got to use an analytical approach. What's the intervention? Where does that end up? But also you have to respect the fact that it's not about, how do I get from A to B? So how do I drop 20 pounds? It's like, okay, you want to drop 20 pounds, but are you able to sustain the diet that got you there? And how much do you need to change your diet to get there? And what do you want your diet to be long-term after that fact? So that's why I'm not big on fads or this like trial period thing. think a lot of people should just accept what they want to achieve and maybe have micro goals along the way, but also accept you have to have an exit point. Otherwise, you're spinning your wheels. And I hear a lot of people trying to gain muscle, lose fat, and they're constantly going between the two. And I just say, just pick one goal. Try and reach it as best you can and see where that ends up. And pick a different goal when that expires or whatever you want to do something different. So that's me in a nutshell. But I don't know much else what to say really.
A question for you, Jonathan. You said you've had issues with chronic pain through the years. And how has Carnivore changed that? Have you had any changes in your pain issues? And you could talk about
Good
that.
question. Yeah, so initially when I started the Carnivore diet 5.5 years ago, I found myself managing a health food shop and doing a lot of jobs for other people. Being the only male at the time working in the shop. Oh, Jonathan, get that. Jonathan can get that. Meanwhile, I was walking around with the most debilitating disease-laden man, a lot of pain, exhausted, 50-hour plus weeks, laborious work for what it was. So my pain started to creep up and up and up. I noticed when I switched to the Carnivore diet, it sort of leveled out a bit. I felt like it sustained me. The nature of my disease is it gets worse, and it does not get better at my point in my phase in terms of post-surgical procedures. So my best bet is maintaining pain as best I can right now. The way I know that it does that is the fact that if I eat a meal out of family and it's a bit naughtier, so to speak, naughtier than normal, I might have some seed oils in it, might have, I don't know, more than 100 grams of carbs in it, I don't know. Maybe it's got some junk in it, ultra-processed food, I don't know, whatever it happens to be, I'll notice the effect afterwards. That gives me enough of a warning sign to say, this probably isn't good for me. But then in my head, the way I'm thinking right now is, I've made all these biohack adjustments. I live like an absolute bloody monk. And it's not giving me more pain relief. But if I enjoy a meal out of family once a month, and that makes it feel better, I might as well just keep that in. That's kind of my perspective towards it. But I do modulate my blood levels very carefully. So I do actually intervene with them if there is a problem. But I find, generally speaking, it depends what kind of meal I have. But if it's something, just say, I don't know, say 150 grams of carbs per day plus, that'll be enough to inflame me, make me feel a bit sluggish for about 2 days. So I'll notice some symptoms when that happens. So first I'll get slight little pimples like on my face or something, very light, nothing too much. And that's obviously an obvious sign your body's trying to detox. Other things as well, my thirst will change because my body's not running as efficiently as it usually is on metabolic water from the byproducts of the intake of fat. The other things are, like my stomach will just feel about an inch bigger all the time for about 2 days. My bowels might be a bit irregular, so I've had experiences where I've had solid and loose just from changing the diet up. So it's obviously a case of the microbiome getting a bit upset. So with that in mind, I try to keep things sensible. If I've got stuff on the next day, that's important to me. I need to be feeling proper full, like this, for example, like a good chat. Then I'm not going to have any crap food the day before. I'm going to be quite sensible. So that's how I approach it personally.
And when you're getting ready for a bodybuilding show, do you change your dietary habits for week 2 or 3, or what is usually your workup to get to that stage?
Sure, yeah. Yes, I tend to stay very lean all year round, mainly because there's no benefit to me being in the bodybuilding category that I'm in to being any heavier. It doesn't yield more on stage. But I do know, the more weight you carry, the less you're going to live. I accept that as a contraindication of bodybuilding. But, why would I need to carry more weight than I need to have? As long as I'm feeling okay, health markers are as good as they can be, I sleep okay, I'm not like in a depleted state, then it's not an issue. So the way it looks like, it might be a contest prep diet, might be 8 to 12 weeks, depending where I'm starting at as a body fat level. My protein is usually set at the amount that I've been having in the off season. Then I usually just drop fat down by about 20 to 30 grams. So that might be, I don't know, 10%. So I'll see what happens. I'll run that for a week, look at the scale, look at my pictures. Oh, I'm better this week. Okay, brilliant. You know, my rate of weight loss might be about 1% per week. So I'm looking to drop about a kilo a week at the start. I'll run it another week. Oh, I lost a kilo again. Then I'll run it another week. Then, oh, I've only lost half a kilo. But I look significantly better. Well, let's just try and milk out another week like that. So why cut down harder than we need to? You know, we need to make the right intervention to get the job done. Otherwise, you're just constantly on that never-ending slope of just eating less and less food. So that's the way I approach it. And if my appetite goes up at all, I'll adjust my training volume. I'll see if I'm doing all like the leptin biohacks and all those sort of things, red light therapy, photobiomodulation, you know, all the sort of recovery hacks. And if that's all nailed down, I've got it all proper and sorted, I'm sleeping okay, then okay, maybe I need to drop the fat a bit. So I might drop an extra 10 or 15 or 20 grams even. And that's effectively how I do it. Then what I do actually notice myself, I have to eat a lot of protein. My appetite seems to want it. My body seems to require it. And a lot of subjective and objective markers tend to get worse if I try to drop it. I suspect a lot of that's due to like MTFH of our genes, HLA genes that I have, autism, probably associated leaky gut, and things like that, which just mean you require more food. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Just for anyone that's listening, before a competition, like my lowest point, I tend to reach around about 360 to 380 grams of protein per day, less than 30 grams of carbs through dairy, eggs, and a few coffees I might have a couple times a week. Then the fat is usually about as low as 150 grams. That's pretty much as low as my food gets. And yeah, I mean, I'll intervene with things like a bit of light cardio. So I don't, obviously, for anyone doesn't know, I walk with a stick. I don't move fast at all. I'm probably half the speed of most old grannies around here. They always walk past me on the bus, which is insane. Yeah, so I'll add in like a little cycle or something. So I'll be 10 minutes on a bike at the gym. You know, nothing intense, just light, nothing straining my hips or anything. That's how I go about it. But the training tends to stay the same. But the diet is the biggest lever, of course. So that's what I modulate.
So what's your weight routine, days a week, hours a day, to maintain?
Yeah, sure. So generally speaking, I try to maintain my lifts or try and progress them at certain parts of the year. I never just drop weight for the hell of it. If I drop weight, I'm either under eating, I'm losing muscle, I'm dehydrated, or I've not had enough food, something like that. I've not slept well. So I try to always maintain or progress each weight session. I'm typically training 3 times per week, which might look like a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Saturday. Each session currently specifies to me my needs, my recovery capacity. I have a little note section next to what I do, so how it feels. If my elbow's sore, maybe I'll swap out the exercise, maybe I'll change the times tension, stuff like that. Generally, at the moment, I'd say it's a full body split, with the exception of some body parts. So some body parts I have are very good, so I don't need to work too hard on them. It might be 2 total sets per week. So, for example, I might do maybe even 3 sets. So, if for example, I'm trying to keep my quads the same, they're a strong body part, it might be Monday leg extension, Wednesday leg press, then Saturday might be leg extension again, then just go on a rotation, like an A-B rotation. Other body parts that week might be a few extra sets, but over the course of a week, I'm doing generally about 20 total sets per week, and each set might last about 2 minutes. So you know, it's really up and down 10 seconds each way, about 2 minutes straight. That's alleviated a lot of potential joint pain. I get some mechanical tension from it. It's very cardiovascularly taxing, so I get some fitness benefit from it. I get a lot more control as well versus using a machine or an apparatus that I might be able to only perform, say, 20 seconds reps with, because, you know, my sort of body weight, my musculature, the recovery capacity does not scale up with your size. So the harder you train, the bigger you are. It's not that you can then do 2 sets, then 3 sets. It's those 2 sets you did in the past 5 years ago might seem really difficult now. You might only be able to do 1 set, because the strain in your joints, your central nervous system is that much higher. So that's all about muscle fiber recruitment. So you might look at, I don't know if you're aware of Henneman's size principle.
What is it? What is it?
Henneman's size principle.
Nope.
No. So it's based on the idea around mechanical tension and muscle fiber recruitment type. So what people often say to me is, "Oh, Jonathan, you do sets that last about 2 minutes. Surely that's only slow twitch muscle fibers because it's a long set." But that's not what the science says, and it's not what we see in reality, because all it takes is for a set to reach, in terms of a movement, to reach momentary muscular failure to get a higher degree of fast twitch muscle fibers. So think you're moving it like that, 10 seconds up, 10 seconds down. And say you're in the last rep, say minute and a half in, it's just barely budging. Well, there's no slow twitch muscle fibers really involved, or if they are involved, they're very sort of backseat. The fast twitch muscle fibers are coming in to recruit themselves in order to facilitate the size or the impact or intensity of the movement you're trying to do. And I found that myself. So this past year, I've gained, in terms of stage weight, within one exact year, is 9.3 kilograms of muscle. That was, as a bodybuilder, I was enhanced back then. I was enhanced now, obviously. But this was going into about my 16th or 17th year of training. So think, it's not noob gains. It's not anything magical. What I have been careful with is actually training as hard as I safely can with the machines and apparatus that I can use that don't aggravate my body at all. Then also modulate recovery very carefully. So on a slight inkling I've gotten a week where I'm thinking my elbows are a bit sore, rather than try and outwork it and just deal with it. What's the problem here? Because if I get sore and sore and sorer and my strength gets higher and higher and higher, what am I going to do then when it gets so high that my tendons and joints and ligaments can no longer recover? So I've always been focused on the recovery standpoint. So oftentimes you might see me online, or anyone might see me online. I'm talking more about recovery than about the training. So I could give anyone here a good training program that would probably work quite well. There'll be a point in time where they have to adapt and think more carefully about what they're trying to achieve, because the recovery capacity is finite. I'm sure you guys have seen this before. If you might be able to do 10,000 steps a day every day, 12,000, 15, 20, 25, 30. There'll be a point in there where you don't get any more, fitness benefit, health benefit, or fat loss benefit, but you might actually start to get worse, become more inflamed. So that's the point I'm trying to redline. So where you can still make the adaptive response to your body, but not dig too deep into that hole that you can no longer recover. So that's kind of my theory around training, largely speaking. So full body, 3 times a week, slow controlled, safe exercise selection, prioritize weaker body parts, manage recovery as carefully as you can.
Do we have some questions there, Alia?
We do have questions.
All right, let's bring them on for Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan, for being here.
Cheers.
Where do you live in this world?
I live in the south of England in a town called Bournemouth. 2.5 hours southwest of London, roughly.
Here's the first question. Jonathan, what is the weirdest meat you've ever tried? Would you eat it again?
It technically counts as an organ, but it was lamb brains. I would eat it again. Yeah, I would certainly eat it again. Yeah, it's like mild, bland scrambled eggs, if I had to describe it.
All right. This one's for Dr. Kiltz. Maybe we take this one up last. It's all about the glycocalyx. Let's ask these other.
Just go for it. What is it?
Oh, okay, fine. It's a large question. Is it too complex to speak more about our glycocalyx? What hurts it? Can it be restored quickly? Is it highly important but never talked about? Thank you. Good morning, all.
Well, the glycocalyx is probably the most important part of our body. It's the sugar layer that is the barcode, the transmitter receiver of every signal of the body. It determines your blood type, your human leukocyte antigen, and think about all the plants around the earth. If the plants did not exist, life would not exist. There are approximately 9 sugars in the human body that make up the glycocalyx. And these sugars come together and form long chain complex molecules that are called glycans, and basically they line every membrane and molecule of our body, and they're damaged easily because of a high plant, low animal fat diet, in my opinion, in 3 to 6 meals a day. And it may be that the glycocalyx damage is the leading cause of all disease and never talked about. Everyone thinks sugar is for energy. It is not. It's for glycosylation, which is the addition of a sugar, more than just glucose, to a protein or a fat to give it its proper charge, shape, function in the human body. And a large plant protein, low-fat diet in general damages it. And there are a number of books out there. Some of them that I highly recommend is these two books I think are really great: The Essentials of Glycobiology and Introduction to Glycobiology. But 99.9% of us are not talking about the glycobiome and the glycocalyx, but it likely is the single leading damaged membrane functional system that's damaged in our body. And we'll talk more about it. I'm going to talk in San Diego about it a little bit. And basically, sugars are on every cell of every organism. Go ahead, Dr. Nelson.
As an example, and the glycocalyx is not only sugars, it's glycolipids, glycoproteins, everything. It's a complex of different molecules. But inside all the arteries, the endothelium, which is the most inner layer, is covered by the glycocalyx and is the first place where damage occurs that probably initiates the atherosclerosis end stage damage that occurs in our arteries and clogs up the arteries. But it is that layer, the first one, that gets damaged before the whole process starts.
Yeah, and it's the sugars line every cell of your body, every membrane, and many and most of our neurotransmitters and enzymes and hormones are basically are glycolipoproteins. So the sugar component is the most important thing in our body that people don't know about. Next question.
I just want to say real quick before we get to this question that I posted a video on Dr. Kiltz's channel. It is him speaking at Champions for Better Health. So check that out afterwards. And it is pinned in the comments in the chat. Here we go. Here's the next question. Cookie Carter, son 14 years old, on a very low carb diet, 15 carbs daily, working towards carnivore, develops gyno and left breast. Can carnivore help? What does that mean, Dr. Nelson?
Gynecomastia, maybe.
Most likely gynecomastia.
Yeah. Okay, so go. So what's a low carb diet? I got to know what you eat.
Yeah.
Right. What do you eat? And,
exactly.
And it's probably a low fat diet, I bet. People say to me they eat avocado and walnuts. Is that fat or is that a plant chemical?
Plant chemical.
Plant chemicals. Do you have anything to add to that, Dr. Nelson or Jonathan?
No, you're right. I mean, we don't know enough about what they're eating because some people follow a low carb diet and they include some fake food in there, and we don't know if they're. I mean, it says they're carnivore or low carb for 14 years, so I don't know. Yes,
I had the same. Yes, sorry. I've had the same issue when I was younger. What I found was it wasn't like big, then it gets smaller, then it get big. It was big while I was overweight. So more overweight it was, the more it expand. You know, the more estrogen you have, the more estrogen dominance sort of thing. What I found is as I got older and I lost that puppy fat, it started to shrink in size. And if I'm completely honest, and this is not medical advice at all, but the two ways you would get rid of it at that age are pharmacological agents, mainly things they use for breast cancer, and the other one is some kind of surgery, cut it out sort of thing. At that age, I'd say you'd have to look into it further, because if he is underweight or average weight, in terms of health sort of weight, and it's getting bigger, I'd look elsewhere.
And I would say almost always warrants a medical evaluation if you have gynecomastia, by the way.
Okay.
And phytoestrogens, estrogen comes from plants.
Right.
And remember, the birth control pill and the abortion pill come from plants. Go ahead.
All right, next question. This wasn't the next question, but I clicked on it. So oh my gosh, any thoughts on CRPS? I have it on my right side, 4 months carnivore diet and half pain gone, hoping for the cure over time. Thanks.
Jonathan mentioned he has that's complex regional pain syndrome. Jonathan, can you answer this?
Yeah, so there's a few important facts about this. Is one, there's not much information out there about it, so there's no sort of like cover-all, this is what you should do guidance. In terms of what best practice would be, obviously without knowing the person, would be things like mirror therapy. So you type this stuff into Google yourself. I don't want to be spending forever answering each point in this question, but mirror therapy is one of them. There's some anti-inflammatory supplements which could help, but they also might irritate your guts. What I'll be looking at personally, not medical advice, I'll be looking at certain healing recovery peptides. Google yourself, do your own research. Other things as well. If you can catch it, I say catch, it sounds like infectious, but if you can find a way to identify it, it's been diagnosed, you're making reactive interventions because of it as soon as possible, the better your outcomes will be. So it's a bit like getting a sunburn. If you get sunburnt, go outside, your skin's getting all red. If you go into like cold bath, get some ice in it, cold shower, that'll stop the burning from continuing to happen. So the quicker you can intervene, the better. If you've experienced 50% pain relief, according to that, from the carnivore diet, I am astounded, and I'll personally get a second opinion or second assessment on your symptoms. So when you're diagnosed with CRPS, you basically have to follow under a criteria. I think it's 4 things. So there's some kind of, I think it's got sensory motor control, locomotor control. There's a lot like, I think it's 4 things. I can't remember exactly what each one was, but basically if you have skin discoloration, which I have, so like a patch on your skin in that area, that could be related. If you've got heat or sensations or weird temperature changes around the area, that's another one. Another one would be just the severe pain. The other one would be disproportionate pain. So if someone like slaps my right lower back bum cheek, it hurts a lot. It feels like I've been hit by a car.
You have
if I'm sat next to someone, that's the one. Yeah, hypersensitivity.
By the way, I've done a lot of pain management in my career, and any therapy, and the person is saying carnivore decrease it at least 50%. Any therapy for pain that decreases your pain 50% is a successful therapy, because there is no therapy that's absolutely going to take your pain 100%. Now, I suffered with chronic pain. I no longer suffer with that. That's 100% relief, by the way, for me. But at least 50%, that is a successful therapy. So the carnivore diet has taken you this far. That's great. But there are other treatments that may be appropriate.
That's completely right. Yeah, I mean, I didn't experience that benefit myself. That's because of how late on mine was diagnosed, with respect to what actually happened, sort of thing. But if someone's diagnosed early, 50%, take it to the bank. I'll be chuffed with that. Yeah, outside of that, say you've got a different intervention you'd have. Personally, if I was to get back in time and I was 4 months diagnosed, or 6 months into having CRPS or whatever it was, I'll be doing all the interventions possible, all of them. I wouldn't just.
And more
I
relief
would
is
usually say
yet
to
to
someone
come,
trial and error.
probably.
I'd say for most people it's trial and error. Like, make a change, see what happens. But this sort of thing, you don't want to live with it. Trust me, it's called the suicide disease for a reason. It's you don't live with it, you survive with it.
Yeah. Dr. Kiltz?
Well, I was going to say I suffered from migraines forever. A carnivore, basically, they went away. But I also incorporate meditation, prayer, yoga, spirituality, get out in sunlight. I do warm and cold water work, stretching. But I think mindfulness and I eliminated plants of any significance or frequency. That helped tremendously. And over exercise is a cause of pain. It's one of the 5 leading causes of inflammation, in my opinion. Plant sugars, plant antigens, plant chemicals, fermentation of plants in your gut, and excessive exercise. Because ultimately we overdo it. We need more. We need rest, and we push our bodies to a level that cars eventually break down, all of them. So.
Okay, next question, Jonathan. Is it better to break down the muscle group than working upper body one day and leg workout next day?
Good question. This is a real rabbit hole, this one. It's not something I could answer in one sentence, even with all the details about this, gentleman Terry. What I'd say is train each muscle group as frequently and as hard as you can without injuring yourself. The problem is, if you become very efficient at activating muscle fibers, you'll get a greater and greater response or adaptation stimulus to your muscles. So, me, for example, I could maintain my muscle on 1 set per week per body part, because when I'm going at it, I know how hard I can train. I've got technique right. I can maximize my muscle activation. If someone's coming to this from a newbie standpoint, as in a few months into training, whatever, yeah, they might be able to do 3 or even 4 times per week per body part. What I'd say to people is, a lot of people I tend to gravitate between an upper lower body part split and a push or leg split. That's assuming over any bracket of time of 3 training days. The more advanced you go, the more you can split it up. This is contrary to what I do for myself, because my recovery capacity is about 1/4 of other people's, so I've got to do just more in less time, basically. But yeah, I'd say, largely speaking, if you're doing upper, lower, 2 to 4 times per week, you'll probably get all the benefits you could ever want. The way you sort of work out how frequently you should train is based on your recovery metrics, all the things that Dr. Kiltz also advocates, which is really cool. So he's talking about, it being a stress to the body. Yeah, training is a stress to the body. You want to minimize that stress, but maximize the outcome. So if you're getting results, Terry, as you are doing leg extensions 2 times per week, that's all your quad work. Brilliant. Keep doing it. You don't need to change it. Why change? There's no need. You do the minimal effective dose, the minimal effective volume. But then if you're finding, my legs are falling behind, maybe put the quads higher or sooner in your workout. Maybe focus hard on your technique. Maybe use a different piece of equipment. Maybe do an extra set for that body part, just to nail down the technique and learn the skill that is training. So you can see how this is a massive rabbit hole, but that's how I'd give the best guidance in like a 2-3 minute sort of span.
And just for everyone who's listening on Kiltz Mighty Tribe and on Instagram, Jonathan, also known as Carnivore Muscle, is sharing his knowledge of carnivore muscle building and how it helps in many other conditions. And so just in case you have questions, you could put them in the Kiltz Mighty Tribe or Instagram, and I'll also relay them to Jonathan, coming to us from England.
Excellent.
Next question. Cookie Carter, Jonathan, amount of weight to lift for a 14-year-old boy, 5 feet tall.
As much as he can safely and reproducibly handle.
There you go. Next, okay, so we took that question. Anyone take John Hoover? Anyone take creatine? Why? How much? When to take it? When to take?
This is becoming really popular, isn't it, guys? I've seen this in Q&As about 5 times in the last week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a popular topic. What I'll say is, if you're eating about a pound of meat per day, which is like beef, lamb, you're probably getting about 2 grams or so of creatine naturally in it.
Wow.
Is that enough to get all you need to sort of survive? Yeah. It doesn't mean you're going to like die or anything. No, if you're a bit bigger, you might eat 2 pounds. That's about 4 or 5 grams per amount. Now, there's some studies out there which suggest that something up to about 20 grams is useful. And it could be. The problem is you have to scale up to these amounts. If you come to carnivore diet and you've got a disrupted gut, you're adding all these things in, like 20 grams of this, 20 grams of that powder, how do you know it's working? Also, how do you know your gut's going to be able to tolerate it? So for me, when I start taking higher amounts of creatine, I find that I get slightly bloated just from a bit of a gut disruption standpoint. Then also urinate a lot that same day. So whatever the reason for that is, I don't know. Obviously, it's related in osmosis and hydration of the muscle cells and high degree of ATP creation from high intensity bouts of exercise. But the thing is, I think a lot of people add these things in, but they miss the more important things. So the training benefit from creatine only really happens if you're training maximally. So if you're doing, say, 10 reps squats, and really you could do 15 if I put a gun to your head, it's useless. It doesn't do anything extra. It's for that top end strength, that top end, think 100-meter sprint, that last little bit where they're trying to peak their race times. That last burn of energy, that's what the ATP is from the creatine that's created. So what I'll probably say there is most people don't need to supplement it, but if you're supplementing a bit, but you're not eating your ground mince, your beef steaks, whatever it is each day, you're pissing in the wind, basically. You're missing out the more important things. So that's my take anyway.
Okay,
Are we all essential athletes as a human being born that way? And at any age, we can resculpt and help build our muscles and our bodies and get back to who and what we're meant to be?
Yeah. I mean, I work with some guys at the moment. They're in their 40s. Work full-time jobs. They're actually develop like an action man physique. Like you think, well, that's an action man down the beach sort of thing. Like a really sort of like respectable body that you think that guy must be like 20. But no, it's certainly possible, and it's not really that hard. The thing about carnivore diet is you recover better. Life becomes a lot easier, less thoughts, less worries, less stresses overall, just from less cooking, less aggravation in shops. So I find that people that gain the most about muscle typically are the ones that have the lowest stress lives. So this isn't anecdotes, it's not hard science, but if we look to the top 20 bodybuilders in the world, the most muscular, ripped people there are, you'll be able to find most of them are gamers. They go home after the gym, they've had the sports massage, they're lying down, they've had the shower, done the therapy, sauna, whatever it is, I don't know. Then, they're just playing like Call of Duty, just relaxing, like chilling out, racing a car, playing Minecraft. They're chilled out people. Chilled out people get better training responses, I find.
Calm water, still water.
Oh yeah, I like still water. I'm not a fan of sparkling.
This is about the boy that's 14 or 15 and has the gyno in the breast. His cookie says he mostly fatty red meat, loves eggs, ground meat, chicken, low carb vegetable from time to time.
Plants are poisonous for humans. They contain phytochemicals and they contain goitrogens, which damage every cell of our body. Plants are carbohydrates, and there are carbohydrates in animal tissue. Carbohydrates are in every single cell of every organism ever created by nature.
There you go. I have a question for Jonathan related to autism. Like,
Yeah.
what are like things that you feel are negative about it, and how has Carnivore helped, if it has helped at all, with those symptoms or whatever?
That makes sense. Yeah. So my main issues with autism, that I'm not a great communicator, but it's one of the things I'm probably most proud of as someone who is autistic, who has achieved anything at all. So I think, yeah, I communicate quite well for an autistic person. Outside of that, the sensory stuff is heat, light, sound, touch. I used to be more sensitive to taste, but with a carnivore diet, that's been a lot easier. Like you can give me like raw meat and I'll probably just eat it. I don't even care anymore. I don't have that sort of, I don't know how to describe it, like this attachment to like something in a package or fruit or vegetables. I don't have really a sort of inkling to have it. So that's sort of freed up a lot of headspace in that regard. The things that I'd say it's improved the most is just resilience, really. And I'm not the most resilient person at times, to be honest. It's very hard to be at times, but I sort of look back and think, well, it's given me this benefit. I can come on a live stream, chat to people from all over the shop, South America, North America, wherever everyone is. I don't know many people that are autistic that can do that. So that's where I see myself as a bit different to a lot of others. So I have a lot of autistic people that watch my channel and I consult with them and chat with them and stuff. But they're not able to sort of, go on a live stream. So I feel almost dutiful for that. So it's not that my experience is, absolutely unique or the most important or anything, but I'm an autistic guy that can share my experiences and communicate it somewhat well to an audience online. That is the carnivore diet audience. So yeah, does that kind of explain your question? I know it's a lot to go into, but
Yeah,
someone asks you about, what's your strengths and weaknesses, or what do you feel? It's like, you know what to say. Yeah.
As you think, so shall ye be.
Mm.
Look at oh my gosh, who's the gal come to me who does she's autistic and she does cow and horse stuff, and she's in the cattle industry teaching them how to organize the horses. Someone will remind me her name, and I know it. I see her talking, but we label who and what we can and cannot do, which makes it true. But ultimately, we have created labels which are limiting. Blow them all away. Blow them all away, I say. And ultimately, we are all capable of everything and anything, all of us. And faith in God is always first. And look in the mirror, and there she is. He is. Oh my God, it's gonna come to me. I know someone's gonna write it down or remind me. But she's amazing, and teaching that basically you and I and all of us can do anything, but we are listening to the world, and our brain says who we are based on what we interpret from the world.
Yeah, it's like that film, isn't it? It's with the glasses. They put the glasses on, and everything they see is like light. But we're sort of subject to this matrix, which has told us what to think and feel. Whereas reality is we can do our own thinking, our own perception, our own moral decisions on what we think is right. So I don't follow the rules at all, in case someone's wondering. Anyone that watches my channel knows I do not follow any rules, apart from my own. They happen to be mostly safe.
It's temple graded, but my point is, never label yourself as anything other than a perfect human being created by God that can do everything and anything. And I would say that carnivore clears the mind of so much. Plants are poisonous, but doing something like you're doing it opens up everyone who labels themselves anything other than a child of God, that they can do anything, everything and anything, right?
I agree. Yeah, I actually met someone at the Great British Meetup a week or two ago. I actually met quite a few people. So turns out there's a lot of autistic carnivores there, which is quite odd. But I count at least 5 that I spoke to, and that was
Oh,
out of
wow.
150 people. So they were just the ones I spoke to that I sort of came out. Yeah, this one guy said, "Oh, I've lost 10 stone. I've been following your channel for a couple of years." I was like, "You've lost 10 stone. You're now you're a normal sort of weight person. Not only that, but you've also come to approach me, the guy, fake tan, bold, muscular, tall, to chat with him about something." That's what I was more impressed with, the fact that any sort of social deficits he might have had previously, he's overcome it and he's got more confidence. So that's the stuff I like to hear. It's always the subtle things, But here's the weight loss, but here's the mental change, which is sometimes more important.
And that's the beauty of social media. We're not waiting for some classroom teacher, university, or XYZ to sort of tell us, oh, here's what you need to know in order to go there. Now we have access. I mean, all the books that were previously in a library that very few people had access to, everyone has access to them, whether it's audible, written, or you can go online and listen. But that's the beauty that we're all learning together through beautiful human beings. Like everyone that's here listening, learning, watching, is learning something today that they can do everything and anything. And we, ADHD, OCD, dyslexia, depression. I'll go down my list, right? And yet I will tell you that those are just stories, are not of any truth of who and what I am. And we did a talk on autism a few years ago on keto and carnivore, basically clearing the mind of all the clutter, because plants and proteins ferment in the gut, which makes alcohol. Could that damage the brain and make you be labeled as autistic? Right? Drugs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But Temple Grayson, autistic cattle lady. Temple Grayson is amazing. Or listen to her. You must. Highly recommend it. Next question.
Jonathan, how old was the oldest gal you ever coached? I imagine you could do some older folks some good for gaining or maintaining muscle mass.
Good question. Yes, the oldest person I coached was a lady. She was 76 at the time. She's not got a meat aversion anymore. She had disordered eating. Her weight has stayed the same, but the look, the actual look is much better. Her silhouette, much improved, clothes fit better. She's now sort of like walking around thinking, well, I used to have like diabetic neuropathy. I used to have all these routine blood tests and things I had to go to, all these like constant appointments. Now it's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to get a checkup every 6 months or so, just for hell of it, sort of thing. I like hearing transformations like that. That's the sort of cool stuff for me.
Wonderful. Bill Cook asked, best way to dump oxalates?
Don't eat plants.
Don't eat anything.
Meat. I mean, have you ever seen
my knowledge is not sustainable. I think you'd be looking at citric acid powder at something like a quarter of a teaspoon twice per day, or magnesium citrate. All these things come with a warning. These could affect your medications, could affect your heart rate. You could get side effects. So make sure you do your own reading. But if you want to expedite the process, that's one way you do it. If you want to slow down the process, have some tea, maybe. Have some dark chocolate, maybe. But it's all based on you and what you can tolerate, what you can sort of achieve over a span of time. I also don't know how severe the symptomology is. So that would be where I'd look. And that's what a lot of people tend to recommend, really. Outside of fasting, obviously.
All right, here's a question.
Oh my gosh. Hold on,
okay.
Ollie. Hold on.
Sure.
Janet Bunch wants to know, daughter's breastfeeding 3 months, wants to switch from prenatal vitamins to beef liver supplements. Look at her organ meat and beef liver supplements And yes, go ahead and switch those. Your question.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Recently saw Jonathan's doco. I don't know what doco is. Well done.
Documentary.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well done. Just trying to wrap my mind around science of man and evolution and God and Adam and Eve beginning. What's the link between the two beliefs? Hope my question makes sense. That is a question.
Yeah, so I made a carnivore diet documentary. I spoke about archaeological remains, the history of the planet briefly, in a sense. I got a lot of comments saying, you don't know what you're talking about. The world was made by God, and there's not any other way. And you're ignorant, and you're stupid, and you're a bad person for saying this. And you've got some ideological beliefs. And I just said, I pulled up the M15 isotope data and spoke about cave paintings. That means I've got some kind of, bias towards religion or not. For a standpoint, for reference point, I'm spiritual. I don't believe in a God or the God. It's more just good omens, things like that. Very sort of blasé kind of attitude towards it all. I respect anyone that is religious, goes to church. I think, largely speaking, churches and people going to community settings like that are a really good thing. I think they benefit a lot of people.
Really?
As for the documentary, I don't know if that makes sense, the question. I just didn't speak much about or talk about religion in the documentary because it is a science-based thing. I can't sort of say the scientific literature in the Bible says that the sky is blue because the hue of this is that. I can't do that. It's not. I can't reference anything. That's the point. I'm glad they liked it. So that's the main thing.
Well, is science more true than the Bible?
Who knows?
Or is it just the human story also?
I think everything's a story. I think we're living in an absolute matrix.
Story.
Yeah.
And create your great story. And there's always going to be someone that doesn't like you.
That's right.
But share it anyway. Jonathan's got an amazing story. So we appreciate you being here and doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure. I'm glad we finally had a little chat and put faces to names and stuff like that and all that good stuff. And I'm glad to see also Dr. Nelson and Elia, as always. Yeah, I enjoy your stuff. I tune in occasionally, so it'd be good to collaborate more and share stuff and talk about training and autism, fat loss and stuff.
There we go.
Giveaway.
Oh yeah, we need to do it.
Spin the wheel.
Let's see.
Fatty, raw, rare to raw meat, salt, but you got to eat the fat. Fat is never the cause of disease. A low-fat diet is deadly for humanity. If you're not fat in a famine, you're fertilizer fast.
That's right. Here we go. Who's winning today? Keto Carnivore Edens. Oh,
Excellent.
wow.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Email me, alia@drkiltz.com.
Two men looked from prison bars. One saw the mud, the other saw the stars. And,
I like that.
it really is all a thought. And we're sharing stories around the globe. Which is the right science? I don't know. But the beauty is you love what you do, Jonathan, don't you?
Oh, yeah. It's the best thing since sliced bread. It's much better than sliced bread.
Yeah. Dr. Nelson, what do we have for the rest of the day, the rest of the week? I'm actually traveling the rest of the week.
Yes.
Traveling the rest of the week.
You are traveling the rest of the week.
Yep. Won't be back until Monday. We'll see where I'm at. But good. Go ahead, Dr. Nelson.
Tomorrow, I'm traveling to San Diego, so I won't be here at 6 a.m. because I'll be at the airport. And today or Thursday this week, we don't have the afternoon live stream because of traveling and conflicts. But whoever is in the class, we're having the class today at 3 p.m. instead of Wednesday, which is the usual time.
And you think, Dr. Nelson, we could throw in a few lives, interviews while we're at San Diego Symposium? And we have a booth at the symposium, correct?
Correct.
Yes, we do.
So invite everyone to come by the booth. Let's get a picture. Let's have questions, comments, share stories. So important around the globe.
And we're having a big celebrity banning the booth in San Diego.
Her name is Nellie. The beautiful wife of Dr. Nelson.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
All right. Well,
All right, all.
a good hour.
Jonathan, God bless you, my brother. We'll look forward to talking some more carnivore conversations and sharing your story. Appreciate you.
Thank you, and you. Have a good one, guys.
Bye,
Take care.
guys. Bye, everybody. See